As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
The family reported to police early Friday morning, early in the day, around 10 a.m., that the two kids they believed had left the home through a sliding door, which they say is quite silent when it opens and closes. So that's how they believe the children may have left the home. That's what the police have been told. At this point, there has been, again, this ongoing search and rescue operations. Police said they've searched thoroughly 4 kilometers of wooded terrain using GPS and grid searches. But of course, again, with all of these questions that are left on day 6 of this search, questions are starting to circulate around what could have happened to these kids. Could they have met with foul play, unfortunately? Here's what we heard from police when they were asked that question just last hour.
I'm not going to comment on specifics of the investigation. We're going to continue on, and when we get to a point that we've got information that we're able to make any decisions that are able to be public, we'll let you know at that time. But right now, I'm not going to comment on specifics.
Those are the statements related to Lilly and Jack Sullivan, the siblings that are missing out of Nova Scotia, Canada. We haven't heard any more details, but there has been suspicious activity. Some inconsistencies in their statement, the infighting between the mom and the stepfather, the mother leaving the area and not returning, and of course, the oddity of where the kids could have gone in the middle of nowhere. And these children disappeared on May 2nd, 2025 and have not been seen or heard from since. Now, Lillian Sullivan is 6 years old. She has shoulder-length, light brown hair with bangs, possibly wearing a pink sweater, pink pants, and pink boots. We also learned she has a white backpack with strawberries on it as well. Jack Sullivan, he's 4 years old, blonde hair, and was last seen wearing blue dinosaur boots. And again, they disappeared around May 2nd. According to these dispatch communications between officers and headquarters, was pretty enlightening. They said on multiple occasions that the parents had last seen these two children in their bedroom at 8 a.m. in the morning. And so many people are scratching their heads wondering why it took until almost 10 o'clock before law enforcement was called. We're also learning right now that there are some allegations that there was a house party shortly before, a day or two before these children disappeared. And most notably in this whole grand scheme of things is the backyard. So this is the backyard, as you guys can see. And up here, you guys see the sliding glass doors. Now, why is this important? It's because these parents are saying, one, that they were sleeping and had not seen or heard their children until they realized they were missing. And they had to have come out this sliding glass door. And this sliding glass door doesn't make a sound. Now, based upon everything I'm kind of seeing here, I don't believe this sliding glass door is as nice and light and sound free as they would like to make it out to be. But this would have been the area that they believe that the two kids would have left the house through this noiseless door and came out here to this area. Now, one thing that you notice is this fencing. You have all of this fencing here. They're trying to imply that a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old climbed over all of this to get out of this area, and they did this in a matter of 20 minutes. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you soon. Well, good Wednesday evening to all of my coffee beans out there. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime. I will tell you up front, I'm having technical issues. As always, I'm not sure if this is StreamYard. My camera has been going in and out all day. So if my camera does go out again, then we're just going to go with my emoji until I can figure this stuff out. But it's wonderful to see you guys. I know you guys haven't seen me literally all day. I'm not dead. I have a pulse. It's been a crazy day. So let's get caught up on some of the stuff that we know so far. If you guys are coming in this evening, please do not forget we're going to start our strategizing tomorrow. We're going to have a very lengthy live on Sebastian Rogers. We're going to talk about his case. We're going to go over his case. We're going to bring you from where we were to where we are now. And we are going to be talking about, getting this whole event and talking about, some ideas, getting the chat's ideas of how things need to go, getting some names that need to be involved. And if you want to participate in that, you're more than welcome. We're going to be collaborating. We're going to try our best to get something off the ground as soon as possible. So, if you want to help, I know there's been a lot of people that are game and on board with this. So it's nice to see you, Melanie. Good evening. Betty and Delilah. She's in the living room, in the bed in the living room. Lisa, it's nice to see you. Penny, Kathleen, Groovy Gal, Lisa, YouTuber, Donna, Tammy, Melanie, thank you, my love. Betty, I miss you today so much. Love you and everyone. Yeah, I knew I needed to come live. I was actually going to be like, well, I'm going to be on here for 4 or 5 hours tomorrow. But that's okay because I was feeling kind of funky, and I think it's because I haven't gone live. And I did like a little video real quick for TikTok. And, then I decided I was going to, this stuff started coming up, and I'm like, you know what, this is something I probably should go live talk about. We haven't talked about Lilly and Jack all day. We do have some stuff, which is great. That's keeping this case in the news. It's giving me a reason to put them on a thumbnail, and that's what we like. We like to have things, flowing a little bit, and media kind of, starting to get those other interviews. This one, in my opinion, is super huge. This is the interview with Belinda Gray, and it's been kind of confirmed through this article. What is it? Spoiler alert. Cody has been cleared, which I don't think really surprises anybody. So but it tells us a little more about the insight and perspective and other things related to the mother and kind of her behavior. I'm not sure how to take Malehya. I'm not sure how to take Malehya. Lorraine Law, it's nice to see you. West Virginia Holler Girl. Heidi, it's nice to see you. Tear Bear, it's nice to see you. Holly S, been with us for 11 months. Well, thank you for the love and support. Ocean, it's nice to see you. Sadie X, Lil Sweet Thing, it's nice to see you. Linda, Donna. Who else do we have? Tammy, been around for a while. She's part of the family, but welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. We got Holly with the super sticker. Thank you, Love Bug. Our beautiful Cinda up in the house saying thank you, BHB and mods, for everything you do. Thank you. Patty, good afternoon. Texas Life Julie, it's nice to see you. Teresa, Dee's mystery soon to be Gigi. I love it. I love it. We should be telling you congratulations. Like, congratulations. Oh, she wants her birthday song. The granny isn't enough. No, she wants the spoilers. Sell with Bullhorn Betty. You guys, I think I'm gonna have to start getting you guys a list so I can tune myself. I wasn't feeling the cha-cha-cha. I'm not feeling the cha-cha-cha today, okay? But we will sing you a little tune. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mystery. Happy Bullhorn Betty birthday to you. All right. That's all you're getting from me. All right. That's a wrap. We'll see you tomorrow. Karen, it's nice to see you. Pebbles, hey. Frank, JH, it's nice to see you. Hey. Kara loves embroidery and crime shows. Denise, hey. Who else do we have? Frank, Strawberry, it's nice to see you. Mama up in the house. Frank, Sylvia, it's nice to see you. Dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches in my dreams, baby. In my dreams. They're out, kind of out the door and, 20 minutes away. There is that. Bluegrass Meadows, it's nice to see you. Christy, hey. It's nice to see you as well. Who else do we have? Karen, Cindy. Oh, sorry. Candy. I mispronunciated your name. Mama Bear is up in the house. Mitzi, it's nice to see you. Mama Todd. Shirley, it's nice to see you. Hey. Heidi. Who else do we have? I think we have another Donna. It's nice to see you. Tammy. Erna. Casey. It's nice to see you as well. Eeyore Blues, our sweet miseries up in the house. Christina, it's nice to see you. Okay, guys. So I know you guys are all here trying to get some updates on the Lilly and Jack case. If you're coming in, please remind people, if my camera goes out, I've already pre-warned you, I'm not turning it back on because it's frustrating me. It's been doing it all day. I don't know what's what, okay? It just is what it is, and we're just going to deal with it, okay? So it's not going to affect you guys being able to see the shared screen, so you just won't be able to see my bubbly face and smile. So take a picture. Okay, so you guys now have a picture, so if we do go down, you can just put my picture up. There you go. So Lilly and Jack, as you guys got the intro coming in, they've disappeared. They've been missing since May 2nd. It's been quite a long time, and we're constantly looking for... Let me just remove this until I am ready. So we kind of have heard about this case. We kind of know the details of the case. The case really doesn't make sense. And media, they're doing their best. I can tell you, I usually complain about mainstream media, okay? I'll be honest with you. I complain about mainstream media all the time on here. And, I don't know what information mainstream media has that they're not publicly stating to people, but that's neither here nor there. I still feel a strong push from their media in the area, CTV, CBC, Global News, constantly making an effort to do some work. Betty, I'm researching something that might help Sebastian's case. Hold on. But I have one question. Do you know what state representative is for Sumner County? Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, I should be able to. State rep. Sumner. Okay, so we've got... looks like William Lamberth, General Assembly. He's in the Cordell Hull building. That looks like one of them. And usually we have a representative, but there should be a state senator for that district as well. So that would be their state Congress. So it would be William Lamberth, Lamberth. And that's all I can find. But they reference something up here called Find My Legislator tool on the Tennessee General Assembly website. So if you guys are from Tennessee and you'd like to know who your legislators are, or your Congress, your state Congress is, you can go to the Tennessee General Assembly website and go to the tab that says Find My Legislator. Sorry. Tongue tire. So hopefully that helps you, hon. Hopefully that helps. Let's see who else we've got here. Rebel Princess, it's nice to see you. Shauna, good afternoon. Passion Flower. And I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I am super, super sorry. So I just want to go through here just in case I missed anybody that sent in a super chat or super sticker I have not seen yet. And I think we're all caught up. So great. So again, getting back to this, the grandmother, Belinda Gray, we kind of learned about Belinda Gray up front. A lot of people were very nasty to this lady, and it actually bothered me so much that I actually took some time at the beginning of 2 shows to talk about, true crime etiquette, true crime code. We set up these channels and stuff so people have outlets. For me, that's one of the reasons, right? So people have outlets to get some of the stuff, the gunk that they're feeling about these cases off their chest in a, I don't want to say like a therapeutic way, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like I want an outlet for people when they're dealing with these. Hey, Barbosa, Laura, it's nice to see you. Christy, to kind of have, if you got busy fingers and you're ready to go tell somebody about themselves, I'd rather you come over here and tell us about that person. You come over here and Jane Doe, you come to tell us about Jane Doe, right? And stay off her channel. Or stay off her page, stay off her Facebook, especially if it's a victim of crime or it's a suspect in crime. Whether or not we feel that somebody's to blame, it doesn't necessarily mean they really are. And so people were being so mean to this lady, and this lady had no answers. And then they were criticizing her about the whole, the father not being in the children's life. Look, I'm not a family counselor, okay? We're in true crime. I've said this before, even about Seth and Katie and all them. We're here for a crime. I'm not here for family counseling, okay? I'm not here. I'd like to know why there was a breakup. Is he just a piece of crap person, or just some history? But it doesn't mean anything than that. So we learned very early on that the father, Cody, the one that this show's kind of about, didn't have anything really to do with his children. And it kind of enraged some people. And I get that. I'm all about the family and what have you. But I'm not about going on grandma's Facebook page and calling her every name in the book just because her son doesn't have anything to do with the grandchildren. So I thought that was really, 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 really bad. But again, I'm not a family counselor. Is he responsible? Does he have motive, means, or opportunity? He does not. We haven't even really focused on him. Even for the longest time, I kept wondering if his name truly was Cody. He's so far removed. I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing because it tickles me. We haven't talked about Dad. I mean, that's how we feel about, bio dad. He hasn't had anything to do with the kids. He's not going over there to snatch him up when he hasn't even really wanted him since, they split up. Is it sad? Yes, we think that every child should have their mom and their dad in their life. But, maybe down the road that will
eventually happen, or would have eventually happened. But for the time being, that was not their design of their relationship. Mom wanted full custody of the kids, and dad threw his hands up and didn't, and was done. Tammy just gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. So if you received your Bullhorn Betty memberships, don't forget to tell Tammy thank you. And for those 5 beautiful people, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. I.e. the insane asylum. And I pushed the button a little too soon. I'm a little happy trigger today. Grab your straight jacket in your padded room. As you can see, it's a crazy day for a crazy place, okay? It is a crazy day for a crazy place. Denise, it is nice to see you. But I've always really liked Belinda, and my heart's always went out to her. And I think it has to do with the fact that I've met so many grandparents. I used to sell insurance, Medicare policies, life insurance policies. So a lot of my clientele, a long time ago, was 65 and older. So there were so many grandparents that I met with, that, we set up a lot of different things, sometimes even for their grandchildren, little trusts and stuff like that, like little buckets of money, life insurance policies, annuities. They may put an annuity of some sort, a small $5,000 annuity with their name on for the benefit of. There's a lot of things. But there was some things that did come across, in my years of being an insurance agent. And one of the things is a parent blocking a grandparent. And I don't think this was for any other reason, honestly, than Malehya was ashamed of where she stayed. She must have lived very nicely or had a nicer upbringing than that, because we have to remember she is indigenous, and it, from my understanding, is not commonplace for an indigenous woman to be in a very rural area in a trailer, living. Apparently that's a real big thing. And I'm not unfamiliar with Canada culture, but to me, the way I'm previewing this is that typically is a very big deal and not a common thing from my understanding. But again, I'm trying to learn. So if I say anything out of incorrectly, please correct the chat. Please correct the chat. And I think I got everybody. And I got time today. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. Hope you're doing well. Woman's Warrior, it's nice to see you as well. Collateral Damage, it's nice to see you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this article, because this article, I think, really kind of, in my opinion, helps. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. I was going to put it up on the screen, but with all the laggy stuff going on here, I'm not going to put it up on the screen because I'm just going to read it to you anyway. So I might as well just read it. So this is My Heart Tells Me These Babies Are Gone, which is another thing, but I didn't want to put that on my thumbnail. So I thought Father cleared was, good, instead of they're gone. So just trying to be a little more palatable. So Belinda Gray, it tells her story. I think she kind of breaks her silence for the first time, but I think it's important for her to get her story out, especially with all the nasty grams she got because of her son. Again, not her fault. Her son's a grown-ass man. When are the people that like to pick on people and go real life and go blow up their social media, telling them all about themselves, horrible name? When were you planning on going over to Cody? Oh, that's right, because he doesn't have social media, so you have to go beat up on his innocent mommy. So her son, Cody Sullivan, is the biological father of the 2 who vanished from rural Nova Scotia community the day before. And she goes on that this is kind of how she learned about it. So she awoke to sights of flashing red and white lights as two police cars pulled in her driveway. So she had no idea. And it makes me wonder if Malehya tried to say, well, maybe their father took him. We haven't heard that come out, be public yet, but they surely went over to his house really quickly. An absent father. So that's how she first learns about it. She didn't learn about it because Malehya called her or anything like that. She has these red and blue lights coming to her and pulling in her driveway very, very early hours of May 3rd. She already knew why they were there. Her son, Cody, is the biological father of the two children who vanished in rural Nova Scotia. They came inside and only stood in the kitchen, said Gray. The police officers who came to her home in Nova Scotia, Eastern Shore, they just wanted to wake Cody up and wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just to make sure that the kids were not there, and they left. It wasn't a very long, it doesn't describe a very long situation. The previous morning, police received a call, a 911 call reporting Lilly Sullivan, 6, and Jack, 4, had wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station, a sparsely populated, heavily wooded community of Pictou County. Their disappearance sparked extensive searches that have far more turned up little evidence. Have so far turned up far little evidence. As nearly a dozen RCMP units try to piece together what had happened to the young siblings amid intense international interest. After watching the investigation unfold over the 6 weeks, Gray decided to share her family story in hopes of keeping Lilly and Jack's case in the public eye. As many of you know, even Daniel has kind of gone silent, but I also have his interview up as well, and we will be going over his interview and see what he has to say about. Can we garner anything? And the way I knew about it is because somebody sent me the Deception Detectives analysis over it, and since I hadn't watched it, I didn't play Deception Detectives analysis. I want to preview it myself, and then after I preview it and make some notes, then I'll go back and watch the Deception Detective. Gray, 62, said her son was in a relationship with the children's mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, for about 3 years. So that's new information. We never knew how long they were together. 3 years is quite quite a long time for such young kids. I thought they were the picture perfect family. So Belinda was kind of loving this family that they were creating and her grandkids. She sounds like a great grandma, yeah? And then Malehya started telling her that she was having problems and she wasn't happy. And I have to assume that happened shortly after having her baby. Probably within the first 16 months of Jack, right? Because we know Jack was born before she left Cody. So I find it awfully interesting that this detail has surfaced, because I think this detail is very much relevant and may actually be relevant at some later stage in comparison to what happened here recently within 16 months after Meadow being born. So there is something with Malehya and the pregnancies. I haven't quite figured it out just yet, but it does seem like she does have some prolonged symptoms, that rear its ugly head, in that year after or so. So I'm kind of seeing that. Thank you, God. Little Clara was found. Oh, I didn't even hear about this. I've been, doing some legal stuff and been doing, preparing for trial all day, or not trial, but hearing all day. So, and actually, that's why everything's been kind of up in the air here. But anyways, let's get back to this. Brooks-Murray decided to end the relationship and chose to walk away. And Sullivan chose to walk away from the children. Their mother petitioned the court for sole custody, she said. When she did that, he said that he was done. He just didn't want any part of it, said Gray of her 29-year-old son, who is currently living with her after losing his construction job, apartment, and vehicle 9 months ago. So it sounds like this area of Nova Scotia is
really having financial problems, especially the youngsters. Is it lack of jobs? Is it, not being prepared for the jobs? I mean, for us in the United States, if you have a construction job, I mean, you should not be without work, no matter what state you're in. You should not be without work. So I'm just curious. This just it sounds like there might be more here. I wonder if, we have never seen Cody. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know his appearance. We don't know anybody that's come forward to talk about him. We don't know if he's also like, Malehya and Daniel, whether he's got some substance abuse issues going on. And of course, Gray did not disclose those in this article. And I don't know if mom would disclose that type of thing. But who knows? Who knows? But he hasn't seen his kids in 3 years. That's a long time. Despite the fallout, Gray wanted to maintain her relationship with Malehya and the kids. And according to her, Malehya had no objections despite the fallout. And she'd bring him by all the time. But things differed. It seems like when Daniel got into Malehya's life, her whole dynamic shifted. Okay. So it seems like she wasn't acting herself. She's living below her family standards. And let's face it, families do have standards, and it is that way. I mean, it's societal. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but let's face it. Poverty is a pre-existing condition. Okay, usually people that come from impoverished homes stay in impoverished homes. It's statistically proven. Those that come from higher tier homes typically have higher tier lifestyles when they become adults. So it whether right, wrong, or in between, it typically works out that to be that way. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but it just seems like her family had gave her such a life as she was growing up. They would expect her to keep that standard. Okay. And I think that by going out, because I've been reading a lot of this history, and I want to be, careful on how I speak about the history in Canada, because, we're dealing with things that we don't normally deal with in a situation like this. We're dealing with Canadian people, and we're dealing with Indigenous people and reservations, and we're dealing with laws between the Canada and chiefs of the reservation. And we're learning a whole, like, almost mind-blowing, it's almost hard to explain that there's so many nuances in Canada, in territories and stuff like that I'm just not accustomed to here in the United States of America. So, but the contact between Gray and her grandchildren eventually dwindled and stopped completely after Brooks-Murray moved in with her boyfriend, Daniel Martell, in Lansdowne Station. So I don't know how comfortable I feel with anybody changing that drastically after moving in with somebody. Those types of tidbits for somebody like me tell me a whole lot. They tell me that this is kind of when the isolation started. A person that has a good relationship with somebody, especially female, we have very connected relationships. So for us to, take our children regularly over, say, to see their grandmother, and then for us to abruptly stop doing that, there's usually something that stops us from doing that. Okay. And usually that's by way of, mental abuse, right? Who are you on the phone with? Where are you going? Where are you? Why aren't you home when you left there? You should have been home by now. What traffic jam? So it starts with that. And some women they just don't have the fight in them. They're people pleasing people. And so they're always wanting to please. And over time, they feel like they're the defective one, not the a-hole that's treating them like crap, you know, that's feeding this nonsense in their brains. So I just, usually men just don't, they start coming around. Like, a good guy is going to start making sure you get there safely, or driving you and the kids there, and warming up to that side of the family. It's that, if that's regular, what you do regularly. They don't stop all communications. And that's the triggering part of this, is because cause and effect here, right? We have her moving in with Daniel. She had communication up until she moves in with Daniel, and then all communication stops. That's a behavioral change that can be, in my mind, that can equate to isolation and some type of abuse going on with her and him. And this brings me back to something that Mike Demand said, and he said something about whether or not Daniel could be violent, and he did a statement analysis, and he believes that he could be very violent. So I just keep wondering, because this is such an abrupt change in the status quo, and the only thing that changed was Daniel Martell. It just seems like all of this is starting to circle around to Daniel Martell. Are we not getting the full story? Of course. But I can tell you one of the other things that I read here, which I should have put on breaking news: Malehya most definitely can speak. Law enforcement, much like what was said for Sebastian Rogers and the law enforcement told us, Chris Proudfoot, hashtag Chris Proudfoot, tells us, law enforcement told us, no, we can't talk to you guys about this. We want to come on, your show and stuff, and talk about our feelings and how we're feeling, but the law enforcement doesn't want us talking about this case. Well, nobody wants to hear from you unless we're talking about this case. I'm sure that's what they were thinking. Well, it sounds similar like that. She's telling everybody that she can't speak because law enforcement told her not to speak. Law enforcement doesn't make those assessments. I was unfamiliar if Canada was like that or not. I didn't want to assume that she was lying because law enforcement in the States don't do that. And they clarified that. And we're going to go over that clarification. But no, yet again, they never told her not to speak to media. So she lied. So mommy is lying and lawyering up and hiding like a coward. What a bad mom. And makes you almost terrified for Meadow. Just saying. And I'm hoping and praying that Canada has done the right thing and removed that child from that woman's hands until they find out what happened to her other two kids. So we don't have a third kid missing. But, I don't know. Don't want to be disrespectful. I was in a state of panic, shock. In back of my mind, I kept saying, well, they'll find them, she said. Gray headed to Pick 2 the following day to help search in the dense wood and the surrounding the home that surrounded the home where the children were living. I'm yelling for Lilly and Jack. We always call Jack. Here's a new little thing, Jackie Boy. That's a sweet little name, Jackie Boy. His heritage is Irish, said Gray through tears, pausing to compose herself. I started to feel that I can't see them being in the woods. The trees everywhere. You literally have to climb over trees, under bushes. It's really, really thick. We know the kids ain't, that kind of crap scares kids. I'm sorry, it just scares kids. Over 6 days, the search and rescue teams combed through the forest as helicopters and drone whirled overhead. The wider ground search scaled back on May 7th. She said she does feel the area has been extensively searched, describing many orange and pink ribbons tied to trees to mark off areas that have been covered. You could see places around where they played, and you could see places around where you might want to explore as a kid, she said.
But beyond those exploration points, there's no reason for any child to wander deep into those woods. Very interesting. Very interesting. For his part, Martell agrees the woods around his home have been extensively searched, adding that the drone was flown into a hatch that leads underneath his home. Say what? Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? For his part, Martell agrees the woods around his home have been extensively searched, adding that a drone was flown into a hatch that leads underneath his home. Is that a crawl space or a bunker? I'm just, that doesn't sound good the way it's written. I'm sure it's a crawl space, like a hatch for that trailer that goes to the ground. But the way it's describing it, it sounds like a freaking bunker. Is it connected does it go underground? I mean, what? Why would they fly a drone in there? Why didn't they just take the skirting off and look up under there? And I thought I saw part of the skirting pulled back anyways. I heard that earlier. Trailers have calls. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I just, so it was freezing. So it was freezing and then became very rainy. So if they froze and they're buried well, it would be tough. Yeah, it is pretty cold over on that side, isn't it? Because that's like kind of above Maine, and Maine always stays cold. Yeah, it's another weird. Yeah. Just weird. Yeah, I agree. He says he feels investigators are doing all they can do to solve the mysterious and strange case. I'm hoping, like, they put parentheses around that. That means it came out of his mouth. Now he's starting to really, really show Chris Proudfoot. I mean, the only thing missing from that sentence was, this will be a case that they study for years to come. Holy smokes. Joking, not joking. Nevertheless, the ordeal has taken a toll on his family, attracting attention from people around the world. His family, taking a toll on his family. It sounds like he's the only one left. My life has been ripped apart, I could see that, into 1,000 pieces. And 6 weeks after, the pieces are still laying on the floor. But that's not by the public. His woman-to-be was the one that took off and left him holding the bag. Relatives of Brooks-Murray have told CBC she has been advised not to speak publicly to the media. Well, here is their response. Much like in the Sebastian Rogers case, when TBI came forward to clarify, to make sure everybody knew that that's not what they said. So this is what Corporal Guillaume Tremblay, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, said it's quite rare for two children to go missing at the same time. Investigations like this take a long time, Tremblay says in a recent interview. They put a big toll on first responders and investigations, and I can't imagine what the family is going through every day. Tremblay repeated that every missing person investigation is considered suspicious, and they have reason to believe otherwise. Police have not uncovered any evidence to suggest the children were abducted. He maintains that. There is a statement in here. Did I miss it? Hold on. There's in here, they do. I'll just keep reading because I know it's addressed at some point. I read it. So he says police have not uncovered any evidence to believe there's an abduction. So abduction's off the table. Okay. The abduction theory is off the table. There's nothing relevant to that abduction theory, and it's the low statistical possibility. So now we're in wandering off, and now we're in foul play.
We know now from Grandma Belinda Gray, and let's face it, and Daniel Martell, that expresses he does not believe the children would go that far back, and that the place has been extensively searched and they're not there. So this defies logic. That's what we have here, something that defies logic. So that means, in my opinion, there is foul play. So now that we believe that there is foul play, who had motive, means, and opportunity? Well, from where I sit, only 4 adults had motive, means, and opportunity, and all 4 adults were on that property. So it's kind of like a whodunit, but in a closed circle. There's only 4 people. There's only 4 people that it could be. Daniel Martell expressed that there are 2 other adults living somewhere on that property. We know Mom lives in that dilapidated RV. Maybe she lives there with her other son. I don't know. But no matter how you look at it, there was 4 adults on that property and only 3 children. There should be no reason why any child is missing. Grace said a few days after the children went missing, police returned to take pictures of her vehicle and asked for surveillance footage to questioned her son for about 20 minutes. So they wanted to exclude her vehicles from being ones that they saw go to the house. A few weeks later, they returned a 3rd time, formally questioning Grandma Belinda for 2 hours and Sullivan for an hour and a half in the police vehicle in their front yard. They didn't take him down to the headquarters, but they did give him a formal recorded interview, much like we saw with the Alec Murdaugh. We've seen several of his interrogations inside police vehicles. Same situation. She said she didn't mind. She wished they would have done it sooner. She said her son was a little upset about it. He said they made him feel like he did something wrong. I mean, in technicality, he kind of did do something wrong. You don't impregnate women, and when things don't work out, you throw your hands up and say, I don't want to take care of my kids, right? But again, I'm not a freaking family counselor. He either has a possibility of being a person I'm looking for, or he doesn't. It appears that he doesn't. Move on, okay? Again, not family counselor. I got better things to talk about than somebody being a crappy parent. They're a dime a dozen. Trust me. Have you looked at our cases? They're a dime a dozen. Last week, Grace said police contacted her and said they weren't looking into her son anymore. They're not looking his way, and everything's fine. So that right there, that statement in and of it, hey, Angie Lee, it's nice to see you. That statement in and of itself tells me he's cleared. Okay, he's cleared. Why would a dad need to be cleared if children wandered off? So it also solidifies our criminal investigation. Okay, so we got several breaking news out of this article. Okay, so we definitely know we're in a criminal investigation. We definitely know that they were looking at the father as one of the people potentially to be a person of interest. They have cleared him as a person of interest. Remember, they have formally interviewed 54 or 58 people at this point. Well, we now know that those 2 are part of that calculation. So now, if you really wanted to get down to the nitty gritty, we can take 54 interviews and minus 4, right? Now we know that Belinda, Cody, Malehya, and Daniel have all been formally interviewed. Okay? So we know who the identity of those 4. Now I can guarantee that his mother and his brother were formally interviewed. And I wasn't calling Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm just saying. Just happens to be the mom and the brother. Yeah, Grave Crime with Grace up in the house, bringing a gifted Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to hit up Grave Crime with Grace and thank her. Grave Crime with Grace. Don't forget to tell her thank you. And the person that received it, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome to this crazy house. Good gracious. Good gracious. This is the channel of, if you're insane, we think you're sane. In reality, the sane has turned insane and the insane has turned sane. We ain't buying it. We ain't buying it. So they're not looking into him anymore. And I think that's really important. And you just hear the love. I mean, even though that this is just all print, Jackie Boy and her getting choked up, and then her describing Lily as little dream girl. Like, she's so descriptive, and we know that, she must really be, she dreams a lot. She probably dreams about it. Just, I don't know. It's just hard. And it just makes you more angry about this whole situation. And she describes her as being her little princess. And I think that's precious. And she says Jack, on the other hand, was sober and serious. And she said, even as a baby, she said she would just tickle him and he would just look at you so seriously, like he's really studying you, which, again, gives you a little insight on the kids, So she speaks of the children in the past tense because she believes they are not alive. She says her heart is telling me these babies are gone. And she says she just wants them back. These are everyone's grandchildren. They're not just mine now. It does seem like the whole world cares. And that's sweet hearing what she says, because I can tell you, I read her Facebook page and it upset me so much that I went on a diatribe for 2 days schooling people on, we ain't doing that. And there's still some idiot that does. So we're going to go over now because I'm going to have to refresh this. It's going to give us about a 30-second commercial. There's not a whole lot I can do about that 30-second commercial because this is on, Yahoo News, and we've got to pay the fee to watch it by way of advertisement. It's how this stuff works. We got to pay our dues, okay? We got to pay our dues. So I'm going to let you guys pay your dues. Oh, I didn't put it up on the screen. Well, while I was doing that, it gives me some time to share my screen. I got 4 seconds. I better hurry up. It's freezing. It's freezing. No! All right. Let's see. There we go. Let me see if I can get the volume. Good gracious.
Little princess.
And her 4-year-old brother, Jack Will.
Smiles are just beautiful.
Belinda
Oh, did I hit? Hold on, let me just hit play. Sorry about that.
Gray wants everyone to know how much her grandchildren are loved. 6-year-old Lily Mae Sullivan.
She's our little princess.
And her 4-year-old brother, Jack William James Sullivan.
Jack is a very sober little boy, very intent.
Missing from their rural Nova Scotia home since Friday, May 2nd.
Are you able to authorize and start getting some search teams going?
Radio chatter illustrates search crews and first responders mobilizing.
A lot of area to cover. We're out in sticks here.
For an exhaustive search that would run a total of 12,000 hours.
It's quite rare that in my career I've never seen 2 missing children go at the same time.
Police say they found a boot print believed to be child size, but have otherwise been tight-lipped.
So I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing and that we haven't found any evidence to show that there was an abduction of the children.
So you don't think they were abducted?
So I think that that's important because the last press conference they had, they said something to the effect of, everything's on the table. Okay. And many people had questioned, and I'm like, look, I know they say, that everything's on the table, but they've already come out and said the kids are deceased and there's no abduction. I don't see, if they haven't found any new evidence, how that's going to change those facts, right? So whatever they found to lead them to believe that, they haven't found anything to contradict that. And so I think that that's also equally important. Could have went and played, gotten in a car. This place is so desolate, Linda. That's what people don't understand. There's one way in and one way out from everything I can garner, or like one from the the north, one from the south or east. What, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not a, it's a desolate area. There's hardly anybody out there. Their neighbors are, I think, a mile, 2 miles away. I'm not even sure what the distance is from them and any neighbors. Like, it's really rural out there. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think that's why they wanted the pictures of Belinda Gray's car, is because they wanted to rule her car out as one of the cars coming in, because there was cameras, on opposite ends, whichever way you're coming into their home. There's towns, that have the capabilities of seeing who's passing their store on that stretch. So they've obviously cleared all the vehicles that Belinda Gray let them take a picture of, and they're no longer looking at her son. If they're no longer looking at her son, that's telling us that they're looking for someone. Okay? So they're looking for someone if they're no longer looking at Cody, because they were looking at him as that someone. He didn't turn out to be that someone, so now he's not under scrutiny. So I find it interesting. This wording does matter. It does matter. We need to listen to it and pay attention to it.
But you can't find them. How do 2 young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information.
He says more than 50 people have been interviewed, among them Gray and her son, the children's biological father.
A couple of days ago, they had contact, and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
As she clings to cherished keepsakes,
This is Lily's handprint.
she is pleading for information.
I know somebody out there knows where they're at.
She says
that's what we should be getting from the mom and stepdad, right? Because she misses her grandchildren. She's missed her grandchildren. She's wanted to have a relationship with her grandchildren. She had a relationship with her grandchildren. You know what happened? Malehya got with Daniel. That was the first. That's the way I'm seeing it. As that Daniel has pretty much destroyed this girl's life. If she didn't do it and she is blaming him, I really think it's coming back to that theory I had of where, they basically are saying he's guilty proverbially because of what he put her through. But we had similar behavior when she had Jack, because she up and uprooted and was tired of being with Cody. And shortly after that, she didn't want to be it, but she wanted the kids because probably her maternal instincts told her she needs to have her babies. Well, now that she had another baby and her children are kind of older, screaming, out of control, one is 4 years old. It's not too far from terrible twos, and we all know kids under the age of 6, they test our patience a little bit. They get into everything, and they're awfully loud. So we have her that's showing real grief, that really wants to know where her grandbabies are, or pleading to the public, or telling bearing her soul, telling her personal story, telling people her son's story, making, in the end of the day, he doesn't look like a stellar dad. He's 29 years old. He should know better. It takes 2 to make a baby. You shouldn't need a court to tell you you're responsible. That annoys the piss out of me. I can tell you, do you think there was never a court order that told my daddy that I was his child, and when my mommy left him, that my dad made sure my mama had support, because we were his kids and he wanted to make sure we were taken care of. He didn't, he was not that dad. And he definitely didn't need a court order to tell him that we were his children and we cost money. And now my parents fought over a heck of a lot of crap, but the one thing they didn't fight over was child support. My mom never asked for it. They never fought for it. because my dad always did the right thing in that aspect. Now, trust me, there's a lot to say about everybody's family. We don't all do the right thing. My upbringing, I made horrible decisions. Horrible decisions. But I can tell you, if I have a child and they have a father, and that father is a father that wants to be in that child's life, I would want that father in that child's life. Whether he bopped the neighbor, bopped every single best friend you had, that has nothing to do with your child that you guys had together. That might hurt you. It hurts your child by proxy because, now you guys are split apart. You don't trust men for a while, right? But at the end of the day, he hurt you. He hurt you, not your child. And if he does hurt your child, there are remedies in a court of law for that. Please play the whole video, Daniel. Oh, I'm going to play. We're going to be getting to him next. We just got a few more seconds of this, and then we'll move over to that. But I like to give my perspective.
She just wants answers, no matter how difficult they may be. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Lansdowne.
She had pictures. She was emotional. She was there to tell her grandchildren's stories. She was there to keep their name alive. She was there to say things that were personal and private to her. Despite that, she advocated for her grandchildren in wanting answers and provided a little bit of information in the process. Okay, guys. So here is, let's see. We have a pretty major interview here with Daniel Martell. There it is. We are going to listen to it. I don't think it starts. They're going to give us a little bit about the disappearance. And then about a minute in, Daniel's interview. So let's go ahead and get started so you guys can watch this as, just watch it.
Radio chatter. Search crews and first responders mobilizing in a quest no one dreamed would take this long.
Make sure Mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
A home deep in rural Nova Scotia, 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax, the last known location.
A lot of area to cover.
All right. So before we get going on this, I want you guys to see that. That's a lot of land right there that you're looking at on there. And you see their property and that big, vast nothing. And that big, vast nothing. So I don't think there's a lot of traffic. This looks like there's not a lot of stuff around.
Sticks here.
Not one, but two missing children. A dog that barks at everything. A mother who left on the second day.
A dog that barks at everything. There you go. There's the reason why most likely they do not believe children were abducted. That is a key factor right there. They never once talked about this dog or this dog barking that morning from either Malehya or Daniel. Now that is a problem for me.
A father who hasn't seen the kids in 3 years and a stepfather trying to piece things together.
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanting to know what happened.
I don't like his demeanor already up front. Like, you're in the spotlight for two children missing that you say you love so much. And we've never seen, outside of the first few days when he kept looking at the cameras to make sure they got it.
The mystery of what happened to 6-year-old Lilly Mae Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother, Jack William James Sullivan, is indeed gripping the country and beyond. It is Friday, May 2nd. Martell and his partner, Malehya Brooks-Murray, the children's mother, are having a lazy morning with their baby. Lilly and Jack are in the kitchen alone.
Malehya and baby were asleep. Lilly came in multiple times. I was not in deep sleep by any means. And then about 20 minutes passed. And then when I woke up, Malehya was right beside me. She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear.
That is the first inconsistency, major inconsistency that I heard was right here, because he said, I am the one that made the, she in her interview is the one that said she looked over at Daniel and said, I don't hear the kids. So which is it? We're already seeing the fraying in their story. Something isn't right. Something isn't right. Let's go back and listen to that.
She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear Lilly and Jack.
All right, hold on a second. Let's just see if I've got this. I think I might have this. Hold on. Where's my file folders? That's Daniela. I thought I put files. Did I put it over here? Same person. Nope, that's definitely not it. Summer. Oh, I know where I put it. I didn't. Huh. Let me find Malehya's statement. Oh, well, anyways, I'm not going to sit here and look for it right at the moment, but she basically said, she looked over at him, said, I don't hear the kids. He immediately got up, and she just had the instinct to call 911. That's what she basically said. It's not verbatim. I wanted to show you what she said verbatim, but I can't find the video. I know I saved it. I just don't remember where.
The time, no one will say for sure, but police say it was around 10 a.m. when they got a 911 call.
I ran up in the woods to the kids. They have cabins up in the woods, which only took me like 30 seconds. I came right back down. She was on the phone with the RCMP.
For 6 days, crews tackled an exhaustive search. The children's mother took the baby to be with her family in another part of the province. Her mother told CBC News the RCMP told them not to speak with news reporters. The RCMP says it just advised everyone to be mindful of the information they share publicly.
Be mindful of the information they share publicly. Again, another Chris Proudfoot statement. Malehya's hiding behind that law enforcement told her not to speak while she's lawyered up. We know who told her not to speak, and it's not the RCMP, but that's what she said the entire time. And they're saying, let's listen to it verbatim.
CBC News, the RCMP told them not to speak with news reporters. The RCMP says it just advised everyone to be mindful of the information they share publicly.
That's it. So now we caught her in a lie, a second lie, because the first lie is, who in the world noticed the children were quiet? Because they both had the same story, but they're both saying one another did it. He's saying it was him that noticed it. She's saying it was her that noticed it. I would have to believe that they would know who noticed it first. Who's the one that spoke up first? How do you mistake that? How do you mistake that?
On May 7th, police scaled back the search.
The probability of survival is taken into consideration.
But search crews returned for 2 more weekends until the end of May, searching wells, mine shafts, and septic systems, even flying a drone beneath the home.
The 4-year-old is wearing some blue dinosaur boots.
Police say they found a boot print. And listen to this in the radio chatter.
Families.
Oh my gosh. I just thought about something, and I know you guys have heard me say this. I don't know why it just hit me. But I had read in an article, because they said Lilly left with pink boots, and I've questioned that. I've questioned that at length, because in one of the reports I read, I don't remember which one it is, but I know I read it, and I know I read it from a reliable source, period. And in there, it said that there was a pink boot found. And I believe they said it was under the couch, but there's a piece of me in the back of my head that says it was under the bed, but I'm almost confident they said they found the pink boot under the couch. And we hear of one lone boot print. But they never talked about ever finding that other pink boot. And a backpack is missing. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket.
Police won't say anything about a blanket, but Martell says a piece of Lily's blanket was found near the boot print.
That is a major problem for me. So now we have a lone boot print. I want you guys to make note of this. Take a piece of paper out or get your phone out. There is one lone boot print. There was one pink boot found under a piece of furniture, just to be vague, inside their home.
But Martell says a piece of Lily's blanket was found.
Now we have a piece of Lily's blanket. A piece of Lily's blanket. Yes, pink boot under couch. Thank you, Tear Bear. So where's the other pink boot? Making an impression outside of the house? That's a question mark. That's a question mark. And an identified blanket that links back to Lily next to that boot print? How in the world is a piece of the blanket there? That, to me, now that I've heard it, sounds like staging. Sorry, not sorry.
Near the boot print. He says both children may have undiagnosed autism.
For a lot of people, this story just sounds odd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Good. We're going to give her a round of applause. Now, if she musters up, did you have anything to do with it? I'm going to give her a standing ovation. We'll see.
Yes, I do. And I see it every day online.
He's keenly aware the public suspects him, says the police did too.
Woo-hoo! Let's listen to this. It is a clue. Let's listen.
He's keenly aware the public suspects him, says the police.
Hold on, let's go back a little bit more. Let's go back to this part.
For a lot of people, this story just sounds odd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. And I see it every day online.
Why is a man that's going to spend the rest of his life searching for missing children that were in his home that disappeared? How does he have time for social media? Always been my question with these parents that are supposed to be out there looking for their children, their missing children, and somehow they have infinite amount of time to be on social media reading about themselves. I have a problem with that. I've got a big problem with that. And he just acknowledged he's online and he's reading this stuff. Okay.
He's keenly aware the public suspects him, says the police did too at the start.
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
So he offered to take a polygraph test.
I was extremely nervous, especially with the first question they asked.
I was extremely nervous. I get weird when people start off with, I took a polygraph test, but I was extremely nervous. That tells me that there's not a good result here somewhere. And he told us that was very favorable for him. So I'm already kind of not feeling this. Let's get back.
And I see it every day online.
He's keenly aware the public suspects him, says the police did too at the start.
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
So he offered to take a polygraph test.
I was extremely nervous, especially with the first question they asked. Did you kill Lilly and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you.
Wow. Did you kill Lilly and Jack?
And he could say that with a straight face, no tears, no nothing. I don't know if law enforcement strapped me up to a machine and asked me if I bludgeoned my mother. I don't know if I could sit there without being enraged inside, but enraged that they asked that. And I can't imagine if something happened to my mom and they asked me that I would not have a face full of freaking tears. And I'm one of those angry, emotional people because I don't like being emotional and I don't like crying in public. So when I do, I get angry. It's a personality defect. I own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job. You passed.
I don't believe that. I don't know why. I think it's the inflamed nose. I don't believe that. I don't believe they said that.
When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job. You passed.
Hi, Kayla. How you doing?
The RCMP's Corporal Guillaume Tremblay is not an investigating officer, but he speaks for the force in Nova Scotia.
You know, it's quite rare that in my career I've never seen two.
I wonder if she asks him if they pass their polygraph, and if she doesn't, why not? I mean, if he's already basically, But I've always, there have been times that I've heard that they've told people exactly opposite of their test results just because they didn't have enough or they didn't know what else to ask them. So instead of running them off, they just pocket the information with their knowledge and let them go. Is this a situation where he took the polygraph test and figured if he lied, they would have arrested him? And because he walked out, he figures he must have passed. I don't know. I just don't believe that what he said, law enforcement said to him, did they say to him? I don't know. It's just that look on his face. It just not right. He didn't seem, look at his face. He didn't seem, this is just my opinion. It doesn't mean anything. But it just, the look on his face.
The first question.
Okay, I'm going to find it. Yep. I think it's here.
Especially with the first question they asked you, did you kill Lilly and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you find out the result of
Let's
your
look at
test?
this face.
Immediately right after.
Okay, let me get this on the big screen.
What did they say to you?
You did good job. You passed.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think they say, I'm not saying he didn't pass or anything. I just don't believe what he's saying here. I think he's intentionally, he's not proud. This face here doesn't look like a proud face. It looks like, maybe I'm overthinking this. It looks like a devious face, okay? Like he just got away with something. No one would say good. Yeah, that might be what it is, Kelly. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. Something's. I can't put my finger right on it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to analyze this a little bit more. I don't know what's not fitting and sitting right with me, but it's not the face, the facial expression, the look in his eyes, the everything just is off for me for this situation. And I can't pinpoint just one thing that's making me doubt this statement. But again, I'm just doubting the statement and how it was stated because he doesn't look like he's being honest about it. I'm just saying.
When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job. You passed.
I don't know. I don't like that face. Maybe it's his face. I don't know what it is. Good job. Good job. I don't know. It just doesn't, that statement. Now, we've just watched the Karen Reed verdict. I went on TikTok, to all the care. We didn't cover that case here because I didn't want I got enough up my crawl right now. I didn't need Karen Reed's, free Karen Reed campaign up my crawl either. But I truly believe that she hit John. That's just my personal belief. I think that they were overzealous. I was embarrassed by law enforcement and their handling of that. Not professional at all. But it's just something about this here. And I was going to dovetail Karen Reed into it, and I forget where my dovetail was because I started getting off track because I was going to give you some details of the Karen Reed case, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But at the end of the day, I think it was overzealous prosecution that did that. And for this, I truly believe that in this right here is taking their time. They're making sure that they have all their stuff before they do anything in this particular case. And I have to think it's because they're missing a few nuggets of information, important nuggets of information that will break this case open. We know that another little girl was also missing in Canada. And we also know the fate of that little girl. We also know how quickly Canada arrested her mother. And we've also seen some pretty despicable videos that she posted publicly on social media, which again, very disgusting behavior. But law enforcement acted quickly. I'm not sure. I think the one thing that's hindering this case is the same thing that's hindering Summer Wells' case. And it's the lack of infrastructure. It's a lack of internet services because internet services follow us everywhere. We have our phones, we have our apps, they track us, they do this, they do that. So it's always weird when we don't have information, in my opinion, in these areas in 2025. Our internet was developed in 1994, okay? Again, with some of these places, look at that area out in Nova Scotia. Equipment, they could put on one of the tallest trees there that would funnel some stuff with very limited amounts of resources to do so. And I think this is a hindrance to this case because in the other case, they could track the mother. And it led to a speedy arrest. Here, I think their problem is they don't know where these two people have gone. I think that's what it boils down to. Because a piece of me, after learning a little bit, from Belinda Gray and hearing that Malehya did this type of, not this severe, but she got to this effort point in her relationship with Cody, and it was a year or so after she had her son. And then it appears she was exhibiting those same behaviors at around the time the kids disappeared. So she has this in her. Is it postpartum depression or is it something else with hormones that are produced from having children that are still maybe on the tit? I don't know. But there was a behavior in the same window of time with Cody. Except, she took the kids with her as opposed to them not being around. Was this a different type of break? I don't know. She has past behavior.
Hi, Kayla. How you doing?
The RCMP's Corporal Guillaume Tremblay is not an investigating officer, but he speaks for the force in Nova Scotia.
It's quite rare that in my career, I've never seen two missing children go at the same time.
Was anything found in any of these searches that was deemed to be of significance? Even if you can't tell me what it was, anything of significance?
So I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing and that we haven't found any evidence to show that there was an abduction of the children.
So you don't think they were abducted, but you can't find them.
So this is pretty interesting. Out of all the things that she said, even if you can't tell me what it is, have you found anything significant? And he goes to reiterate that the children weren't abducted. So it is the position that they have publicly let it be known. There is no, why would they be pushing that so hard? Because they know these kids were not abducted. This is the fourth or fifth interview, like literally every interview they have with RCMP, almost everyone, I shouldn't say all of them, but almost everyone, they do discuss the lack of a possibility for abduction. And I find that a little interesting.
How do two young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information.
He says the force has received close to 500 tips, some that have taken them elsewhere in the country. But the only confirmed sighting of Jack and Lily was the day before they disappeared in Nova Scotia. Martell says the children were seen on camera with the whole family. Still, police are asking for trail camera footage in the area dating back 5 days. They say they're trying to establish a timeline in the lead up to the disappearance.
So when teams are tasked, they get a bearing.
Crews have searched around 8.5 square kilometers.
Coming up through all of this stuff.
Wow. 8.5 kilometers, guys. 8.5. They did a lot more work, almost double work that they did previously, because we were at 5.5 kilometers. Now we're at 8.5 kilometers. They've done a lot of searching.
Amy Hansen has been the search manager for most of that. She's taking us into the woods to show us what her team has been dealing with.
The vast majority of it was probably from Fiona.
Downed trees from post-tropical storm Fiona 3 years ago.
This is actually fairly mild compared to some of the areas.
Over a total of...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw them, but I kept rolling through, so I apologize about that. Tammy Crimes gifted, I think I got this though, but 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships, followed by Grave Prime with Grace. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Texas Life, thank you, and God bless you. And Lisa B always says, if I take a Polly, I don't know I told the truth. I know I told the truth. Wouldn't need Ellie to tell me. Just saying. It was out of character for law enforcement to speak that way. I'm sorry, it just is. I mean, even with the whole we can't speak to media thing that we heard from Malehya, they corrected that. It was nothing like they conveyed it to the public. So just FYI. FYI.
10 days, they searched for 12,000 hours.
It's pretty much unheard of in this province. It's the biggest search I've been involved in.
And she's been at this 22 years.
Do you think those kids are in the woods? From everything I've seen, yes.
Why can't you find them?
They're small. They'd be hiding.
That's interesting. She thinks they're in the woods. But she didn't say, you know what? I would have to tend to agree. I think they're in the woods somewhere. I don't think that they're in the woods somewhere there. But I could see them being put somewhere. But this is the first positive comment we've had so far. Let's go back and listen to that. Let's not dismiss it. Let's listen to her words. This is interesting.
And she's been at this 22 years.
Do you think those kids are in the woods?
It took her, you know what? It took her a little while to think about this. That could be a problem for me. Because you either believe they're in the woods or you don't. And she's probably sitting here contemplating, saying, if I say they're not in the woods, what's the next question going to be? Where do you think they are? I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. What did you say, April? If someone put them there. Yeah, I think that might be a true statement. I think she's very careful. She calculated this. She took the moment. She took a breath. And she's very trained, and she is professional. And before she purses her lips, that's to make sure she doesn't prematurely open her mouth. And she takes a moment and she thinks about her answer before she conveys it. And I guarantee in this split second, she is thinking of where this is going to go if I answer this way, and made a decision on how to answer it. She took too long to answer that. Sorry, not sorry. She took too long to answer that. Just my opinion. Now you don't have to trust it. You guys make your own opinion for yourself.
Years.
Hey, Outer Banks.
Do you think those kids are in the woods?
Look at that.
From everything
It took her a minute to figure out how she was going to answer that question. That was a tough question for her because she's been pretty fluent with answering the questions as they come. This one, she had a very, very long and significant pause before answering it.
Seen? Yes.
Why can't you find them?
They're small. They'd be hiding. They would have crawled underneath something probably when they got tired. They could have gone further than what we searched. There's all kinds of scenarios, unfortunately.
And that's playing heavily on the mind of this woman, Lilly and Jack's paternal grandmother.
Sorry, guys. My system just went down to like almost zero. There we go. I just got 2 bars. I don't know what's going on with the system, and I've tried to reset it, fix it, everything, and nothing's fixing the issue.
Their smiles are just beautiful.
She hadn't seen the children in nearly 2 years, a relationship left complicated after her son, their biological father, chose to stay out of their lives. She says he has been questioned by police 3 times.
A couple of days ago, they had contact, and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
She says she joined the search herself as soon as she heard Lilly and Jack were missing. She doesn't believe the children are in the woods.
There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not.
The brush is just too thick.
It is way too thick. Way too thick.
Tonight is about saying a prayer.
She attended a vigil in Pictou County marking 1 month since the children went missing, and says she feels the support of the community and beyond.
Well, these are everybody's grandchildren. They're not just mine now.
As she clings to cherished keepsakes.
This is Lily's handprint.
She is pleading for any information that could provide answers.
There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old. And they deserve so much better than what they got.
She keeps her mind occupied spending time in the garden, surrounded by hummingbirds. Symbols of hope, though she admits now that so much time has passed, she doesn't have much hope the children will be found alive, and even worries the mystery of what happened to them may never be solved.
So sad. So sad. But now we got, sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. Let me just go ahead and kill this. This might help the bandwidth up in here. There we go. So, wow. I feel for her. I feel for her for the situation, you know, because at the end of the day, she didn't make the decision for her son. He made the decision for himself, which obviously affected her ability to be around her own grandkids. And it was quite sad to hear that, you know, and to see her pain, and to see Daniel smirking and thinking he did a good job on a freaking polygraph. You know? It's almost enraging. It's almost disrespectful to the people that are, you know. I mean, I get it if he did I don't trust him. And I definitely do not trust his statements that he made about good job, you passed. You know, I don't see it. I mean, you looked at the RCMP officer, did we not? Does he look like the you got it, bro, kind of guy? Have we seen any law enforcement so far that's kind of like, attaboy, great job? Are you kidding me? They're like freaking stick figures. I just don't. I don't see that as being a plausible possibility. But we weren't there. We don't know. We have only our assumptions. My assumption is telling me that we've got problems here. Malehya's got some problems. Daniel's got some problems. Now, could this be a Leilani Simon 2.0? Could Malehya have done this while Daniel was sleeping? It's a possibility, but I feel he's lying. Why would he lie if he didn't know? You see? So it tells me if he has to lie, he knows something ain't right. Nobody has to lie when they have missing children. Because I can tell you, whatever you've done or gone through, law enforcement could give two rats patooties over it. 2 rats patooties. You know why? Because they ain't there for your shortcomings. They're there for whatever, they're there for your children or victim. So we have to start remembering that, and parents, when they are truly missing a child, they don't really care who has to dig where, okay? You need to tear their whole life apart, get it done as quickly as possible so you can return my kid. Whatever you need here, okay? I had 15 affairs on my husband. Here are all the dudes' names. That's basically how it rolls. When you have nothing to do with it and you have skeletons in your closet, here's the skeletons. Go do what you need to do. Find my kid and bring him back to me. It's very intrusive. But you know what? When you don't have your child, you don't give a crap about intrusive. You don't even think about it. You're just trying to do whatever they want you to do. Here. What do you need? Is somebody out there searching for my kid? Why are you here? What do you need? What do you need? You need this? Here you go. You want my blood? Here you go. You want my fingerprints, my hair? Where's my kid? We're not getting that. We're not getting that. And just like Belinda, her son was a little, felt some type of way about being accused of doing something to his children. And I'm sure that doesn't feel good at all. Right? That doesn't feel good at all. But what did she say? She didn't mind. Why? Because nobody gives a crap about themselves when you've got 2 little kids missing. So when people give a crap about themselves more than they care about the victims, that to me is huge. That to me is huge. So we saw Belinda. She looks like another victim of this tragedy. Another victim of this tragedy. And I'm very, very, very concerned. Why is she, that's Cody's mom. This is the father that had nothing to do with his children. Their family is up here screaming from the rooftops trying to find something. But Malehya and her mother, Grandma, I tell you right now, my best friend, she loves her family. She loves her family a lot. But I tell you what, if her kids ever MF'd with her grandkids, she'd be in jail. She would be in jail. You don't screw with her grandkids. She loves her kids. She loves her kids a lot. But she loves her grandkids more. And she makes sure all the kids know it too, okay? But you don't screw with her grandkids. And she would be the first one up there pulling her child by the hair or by the ear. And we've got Grandma, Malehya's mom, crickets. Crickets. Something is not right. Something is not right with Malehya. Something is damn sure not right with Daniel. And he's fraying. Because we are so sus with him now. Every time he gets now he has creepy eyes to me. Does anybody feel like he's got creepy eyes now? Is it just me? Like, I'm creep now. I'm creep. I don't know what else to say. Every time I see him, I get creeped. So I trust that little voice down deep down in my stomach, and something's telling me something ain't right. Something told me something's not right in this case. From the beginning, I was praying and hoping that this case was not going to be turning this way. This case is absolutely turning this way. We absolutely have law enforcement that is not saying anything. They're keeping it close to the vest, tight-lipped. The only thing they are saying about this case is that it's not an abduction. That speaks volumes. Take it for what you will. Everybody, I want to thank you guys for everything. Now, I know we very rarely get to our goal, and one day I'm going to have to not do something until we reach our goal, but that's okay. I know everybody is very, very curious about what happened today in court. Today in court was rough, okay? Dealing with this very questionable practices of an attorney. I don't know how it's going to be ruled on. We didn't get ruled on today, but it was definitely an uphill battle. And their argument basically today to try to withhold discovery is that Queen Bee makes so much content about me that it's going to cost them too much to store it. And therefore, the cost outweighs the case. So because she makes so much about me, they're trying to argue that I'm not entitled to any of it because it's so large. Now, I am just, so that's going to be the argument. She makes so much content. At some point, I'm going to have to address this just like that with the judge. I'm entitled to this stuff. And it was addressed today, but and that guy just doesn't shut up. And he has the most annoying fucking voice you've ever heard in your ever loving life. It enrages me. His voice enrages me. It triggers the shit out of me. And I gotta tell you, I have to be in court with literally my hand over my mouth. Okay? My hand over my mouth. He triggers me that much. But that's okay. I'm getting better. But I don't care. And they always say, oh, she interrupts me. I interrupt every blessed person, okay? It's a defect. Sorry, not sorry. So anyways, that's where we are in the case. Another piece of garbage argument, but it was, the judge is entertaining it, which is pretty fucking scary. Excuse my language, but it is. It's pretty scary that somebody can prejudice you so damn much. Then when you sue them, they can scream, I've made so much content that the cost outweighs the case. Talk about justice. We'll see how the judge rules on it. I'm praying to God he gives me what I want because I think it's bullshit. This day in today's society, we have things like this. They're trying to say it's going to cost $30,000 a month to store her shit. That's how much that loudmouth talks about me. $30,000 a month. Which I believe was inflated anyways, and I don't trust him. And I believe her attorney lies through his teeth about everything in direct contradiction to his license. And I pray to God one day it's going to bite him in his ass and he loses that license. Because it takes that in order for people to learn their lesson. But he's not going to be losing his license anytime soon, so we'll wait until the next person he tries to, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this case goes. We'll see what I'm going to do afterwards. But at the end of the day, that's where it's at. I told you guys I'd give you an update. Well, I guess we'll find out soon. We'll see if I argued enough. I'm telling you, I was pretty pissed when I left this today. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and I'm perfectly fine with it. All right. So all I know is that this is going, her mouth is costing almost $30,000 a month. We'll see. We'll see what the judge says. So God bless each and every one of you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out, and we will see you tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow is our long and drawn out day. So for those that are going to be here tomorrow at 10, we're starting at 10. We're going to kind of just, go through the case, kind of catch up with each other for, I don't know, we'll just kind of chit chat about the case, any kind of updates going through the case, getting some interviews, looking at the stuff all over again. And then we'll kind of start. We'll have like a recess. I'd probably say about an hour and a half, 2 hours. We're going to probably have a 15-minute recess. The live's still going to keep going, and then we'll come back, and then we'll go through the next segment. At the end of the show, we're going to be talking about some, for the last hour, maybe hour and a half of the show, we're going to be talking about brainstorming for our, I'm not even sure what I want to call it yet. I think we called it Operation Angel Wings, didn't we? So we've got Operation Angel Wings, and that is our avocation for tougher laws for Tennessee for their children, and getting new laws in place. Now, we just went over, we had some great laws signed into law in Tennessee that will go into effect on July 1st. Those were great. We give them a kudos for taking the initiative and start getting tougher. It's never enough, as we all know, but it is finally something positive I can honestly say about the state of Tennessee when it comes to the children, because they tried to pull this whole operation, human trafficking thingy, whatever they were doing in their state, and it just didn't rise enough. It just didn't get there. Yeah, they got, what was it, 29 people, and that's great. We want those bad people off the street. I get it. But I really think they were trying to use it to kind of deflect some of this stigma they're getting. It just wasn't enough. This isn't a real, true step in the right direction. Again, just not enough. So we just need to keep encouraging them to keep increasing those penalties. People that play or mess around with children do not change. The state of Tennessee, do you hear me? Do you hear me? People that diddy-lee with children don't change. Kind of like serial killers. They don't change. You can't fix them. Once they're there, they're there. All you can do is protect society from them or DP them. Okay? And the only way they get DP is if their crime rises to the level. We don't want their crimes rising to the level of DP. We would rather catch it here, get them tougher laws, throw them away for 20, 30, 40 years, and then let them out, let them monkey F around. Pray to God there's nothing that gets up anymore or makes them feel all weird and stuff. By the time they get out of that jail cell, so nobody has to deal with this again. But the sooner we can get it, we know these people don't change. Once they identify themselves, we need to be proactive in keeping them away from us. Just like serial killers, when we identify them, we need to make sure they are locked away from us because their appetite does not change. There's something up here with their brain, and their brain controls the rest of this. So I don't trust them. You got a sick brain, you got a sick body, okay? And there's nothing wrong. A lot of people have some sick brains. Not sick like, like twisted sick. I mean, I guess that could fall in the same category too, but just, sick. Sick. Some of that sickness could be related to cancer. Some of it could be related to migraines. Believe it or not, migraines make you do some pretty bad stuff too. Don't tell me it doesn't. If those that suffer with migraines, let somebody come turn the lights on. I guarantee you pick something and throw it at the wall. And I guarantee you wouldn't do that if you didn't have that migraine. So, anyways, guys, it was great. I'm glad I got to catch up with you guys this evening. We almost didn't see each other. What do you say? Offenders need to be put away longer than 1 year. Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? Ronnie Lawson, he needs to lose his job. And for them to have re-voted him into office after how dirty and sleazy that POS is, sometimes you just can't fix it. You can go in there, you can empower people, you can lead them to water, but you truly can't make them drink. And these places in Tennessee, these small communities in Tennessee that are corrupt, You have the power to change, but it takes a lot of backbone and it takes a lot of grit. And I understand some people just aren't cut out for it. But if you're not cut out for it, acknowledge you're not cut out for it. But don't deny that it's corrupt. But I think people have the ability to fix things if they truly pull their heads out of their behinds and get the blinders off. There's a lot to be had in Tennessee. It's a culture that has been breeding there for centuries, or I shouldn't say centuries, generations, for generations. And it's hard to break, but the bigger they get, they're going to have to break it. We had to deal with it here in Florida. Florida had a lot of sleepy bedroom towns. Well, we are the retirement and the vacation capital of the world, just about. Okay? Things changed in our life. Things are not like they were, 40 years ago. We had a lot of the stuff that they're dealing with that we're seeing them deal with now 40 years ago when we started having population growth and more trying and more difficult elections. As more people come to that county, they're going to have more and more people running against them. So it does happen, and they're growing. The state of Tennessee is growing, and they're not prepared for that growth. And that's what it comes down to. And a lot of their communities are way below where they need to be with taxes and revenue. And they're unable to provide any real benefit to their citizens. And that's sad. That's sad. And Hawkins County is one of those counties where 50% of their residents, 50% are under poverty level. They're broke out there. Those families are having hard times putting food on their table. There should not be a place in America where you get up and go to work every single day and not be able to afford your cost of living. I'm just saying, you guys are giving our government a lot of control over things we need to be making decisions of. So anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth the pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And I hope to see you back here tomorrow, as we have a very, very long day ahead of us, but it is done with love and for our boy, Sebastian Rogers. All right, guys, we will talk to you guys later, and see you soon. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.